Hello, and thank you for tuning into AI Storytime. Sit back and enjoy part 2 of Blaze. Alright, Arya, she said to herself, patting the blaster pistol at her hip. Time to track down Carmack and bring him in. She scanned her surroundings as she strolled through the landing dock, looking for any clues or leads that might help her find her target. She saw a group of smugglers huddled in a corner, whispering to each other as they counted credits. As Arya walked past the group of smugglers huddled in the corner, she couldn't help but overhear their hushed conversation. "I tell you, it's a risky business," one of the smugglers was saying. "But the credits are worth it. We just have to make sure we don't get caught." "Don't worry," another smuggler replied. "We've got it all planned out. We'll make the drop on Arcturia, then lay low for a while. By the time the authorities catch on, we'll be long gone." "And what about Carmack?" the first smuggler asked. "He's been acting strange lately. I don't trust him." "Carmack's a wild card, but he's a good pilot," the second smuggler said. "We just have to keep an eye on him. If he starts to cause problems, we'll deal with it." Arya's ears perked up at the mention of Carmack's name. Could it be that these smugglers had some information that could help her find her target? She debated whether or not to approach them and try to get more information, but she decided against it. It was best to keep a low profile and not draw too much attention to herself. Instead, Arya continued on her way, making a mental note to follow up on this lead later. She saw a bounty hunter leaning against a wall, smoking a cigar. Arya approached the bounty hunter, hoping to get some information. "Hey there," she said, trying to sound casual. "I'm looking for someone? Where does one waste time around here when waiting for a job to start?" The bounty hunter looked Arya up and down, sizing her up. "A job, huh? Why are you looking for 'em?" "I've got a bounty I want to collect," Arya replied, flashing a datapad with Carmack's wanted poster on it. "He's worth a lot of credits." The bounty hunter chuckled. "Well, if it's credits you're after, you might want to try the cantina down the street. Try your luck while you wait, but Carmack, your bounty, he's been known to frequent that place too, gets a little rowdy after a few drinks. But be careful. He's not afraid to use that blaster of his, even in a crowded place." "Thanks for the tip," Arya said, turning to leave. "I'll go try my luck for a while." As she walked away, Arya couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. She was getting closer to her target, and the prospect of finally bringing Carmack to justice was a thrilling one. She knew that the road ahead would be treacherous, but she was ready for whatever dangers lay ahead. She had the nemesis by her side, and that was all the protection she needed. Arya Blaze sat in a corner of the crowded cantina, her eyes glued to the entrance as she waited for her target to appear. She had been following leads and tracking Carmack for weeks, and she was determined to bring him in and collect the hefty bounty on his head. As she waited, Arya discreetly sipped her drink and kept a low profile, trying not to draw too much attention to herself. She knew that Carmack was a dangerous and cunning criminal, and she didn't want to tip him off to her presence. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Carmack appeared in the doorway of the cantina. Arya immediately recognized him from his wanted poster. He was a tall, muscular man with a thick beard and a distinctive scar running down the side of his face. He scanned the room with cold, calculating eyes, looking for someone or something. Arya watched from a distance as Carmack made his way to a table in the back of the cantina. He sat down and waited, his fingers drumming impatiently on the tabletop. A few minutes later, one of the smugglers that Arya had overheard on the landing dock entered the cantina and made his way over to Carmack's table. The two men spoke in hushed tones, their heads bent close together. Arya couldn't hear what they were saying, but she could see that Carmack was agitated and angry. He gestured wildly with his hands as he spoke, his voice rising in volume. The smuggler, on the other hand, seemed calm and collected, trying to placate Carmack with soothing words. She waited until Carmack and the smuggler had finished their conversation and left the cantina before making her move. The smuggler and Carmack went in different directions. She focused on Carmack. This was her target today. As Arya Blaze followed Carmack and the smuggler through the winding streets of the city, she could feel her heart racing with excitement. She was getting closer to her target, and she knew that the moment of truth was fast approaching. As she closed in on Carmack, Arya unsheathed her trusty blaster pistol, the Nemesis, and whispered to herself, "This is it, Arya. You've got him now." But Carmack was no fool. He had survived this long on the run by being vigilant and paranoid, and he wasn't about to be taken down without a fight. He made a quick turn down a dark alley, and as Arya rounded the corner, he spun around, his blaster drawn, and fired upon her. "You should have stayed out of this, whoever you are," Carmack yelled as he fired. "You have no idea who you're messing with." Arya took cover behind a dumpster at the corner of the alley, returning fire with the Nemesis. "I know exactly who I'm messing with, Carmack," she shouted back. "You're a wanted criminal, and you're going to pay for your crimes." Blaster bolts flew through the air, the sound of their impact echoing off the walls of the alley. Carmack darted from side to side, trying to get the upper hand, but Arya was too quick for him. She kept up a steady stream of suppressive fire, never letting him get a clear shot. "You think you're going to take me down?" Carmack taunted. "You're not good enough. I've faced better bounty hunters than you." "We'll see about that," Arya replied, her determination unwavering. As the battle raged on, Arya could feel the heat of the blaster bolts as they flew past her, narrowly missing their mark. But she didn't let that deter her. She was a skilled bounty hunter, and she had faced worse dangers before. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Arya saw an opening. She took aim and fired, her shot hitting Carmack square in the chest. He let out a gasp and fell to the ground, his blaster clattering to the pavement. Arya approached Carmack cautiously, her blaster still trained on him. "It's over, Carmack," she said, her voice hard. "You're coming with me." Carmack looked up at Arya with a snarl, his eyes filled with hatred. "You'll never take me alive," he spat. "I already have," Arya replied, holstering the Nemesis and pulling out a pair of handcuffs. "You're going to pay for your crimes, Carmack. And there's nothing you can do about it." As Arya Blaze led Carmack away, her mind was filled with a sense of accomplishment and pride. She had finally brought her target to justice, and the credits for the bounty would be hers. As she walked, Arya couldn't help but think about her mother, who had been a bounty hunter before her. She had always looked up to her mother and admired her bravery and determination. But it wasn't until this moment that Arya truly understood why her mother had chosen this career. There was a sense of satisfaction and purpose that came with bringing justice to the galaxy, and Arya knew that she had found her calling. She made her way back to the landing dock, her thoughts already turning to the modifications she had been planning for the Nemesis, her trusted blaster. She had always wanted to upgrade the weapon with a custom scope and a high-capacity power pack, and now she finally had the credits to do it. She was eager to turn Carmack in, make modifications to the Nemesis, and get back out into the galaxy where she could make a difference. Arya Blaze was a bounty hunter, and she was ready for whatever dangers lay ahead. The end. Hope you enjoyed.